Okay, here we're going to look at a very common and simple chord progression using the chords G to a D7 to a C, back to a D7, and resolving back on a G. So there are a couple of ways to play this. The G most typically should be played with fingers on the left hand 3, 2, and 4. However, for this exercise and demonstration, also it's easier for beginners to start this way. We're going to use fingers 2, 1, and 3. The next chord we're going to is a D7. Using the fingers 2, 1, 3 on a G chord makes an easier change into this D7 because of the third finger. Notice I'm just lifting off finger 1 and 2, slide the third back 1 fret, and now complete the D7 chord. Notice the relationship of fingers 2 and 1 between G chord and D7 chord. They stay proportionately the same. This method of sliding one finger back is what's known as a guide finger. It literally just guides you into the next chord. In this case, the D7. Next chord we're going to come to is a C chord. Notice the first finger stays on the same fret. This is what's known as a pivot finger. I also want to point out that sometimes changing chords and learning to get smoother, easier changes does not involve using the right hand at all. Simply just look at the left hand, make sure everything is in the proper place. You may want to play through each string just to be sure all notes are ringing correctly, and then lift and move appropriately to whatever chord you're going to. Then maybe check that chord. Okay, fortunately all of mine are ringing properly. Common with the problem with this C chord is this third finger tends to be a little lazy. Just kind of the way hands are built. So you need to keep those fingertips arched and make sure you see the light under your fingers. Then you'll go back to a D7 chord and then resolve on the G. We can simplify this chord progression by eliminating, by that I mean not playing, pretending they are not existent, the last two strings on the guitar. So my G chord will simply look just like this. I'm tucking my fingers just for visibility. You'll still want to keep them upwards. So now, this is a lot easier, especially for smaller hands or people that just don't quite get chords in the beginning. Chords are a lot harder than single notes. So if this is awkward for you and you want to get a sense of accomplishment, just go with the first 4 strings. There's a G chord, slide back to my D7, again, only the first 4 strings. Then now I'm going to move on to a C chord. Notice I'm not using the third finger. This is very helpful, probably more so than the G chord for beginners. And then I'll go back to a D7 chord. And then complete the cycle by resolving on a G. Something you may consider is just practicing a G chord, move to a D7, back up to a G. Just go back and forth between 2 chords. You don't have to learn every chord in one day or 1 week. I found that if most people just learn to make a couple of progressions cleanly, smoothly, and evenly, later progressions come easier because you're actually learning the approach and technique just with new chords each time. So just take the G to the D7. When you get comfortable with that, practice the D7 to the C. And then eventually put them all together.